You think Burry's going to be right on Micron and NVIDIA here? He just added more to his short here.
It doesn't have those massive moves that ends up moving the entire market anymore. But yeah, it's going to be those CapEx numbers.
Growth land getting obliterated and starting to see kind of a little bit of weakness.
There's no way in hell they could raise rates, but they also can't cut.
I still believe that most names, the majority of names, are going to move in the direction of the industry. Space is the next frontier. It can't just continue to run on fumes and run on this theory that we're going to be like building on the moon or Mars. Once you start to see the SMH chips memory start to crack, it's almost like they're the last to fall. It's speeding up because margin and leverage is being used heavily, especially amongst those that really have no business using it.
You need some sort of catalyst to get this thing going. Like every earnings report, still explosive growth, just the market doesn't care.
Cause we pop 'em like overred and vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire. I'm a young money millionaire.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Daily Stack. First, I did not give it a listen first, and that is Deleted Forever. One of the songs I've ever heard, to be honest. But gonna have a ton of time for chatter. Although JFDI, you did tell us a crazy story about losing your keys earlier. You want to talk to that for 30 seconds. But we got a big week, obviously, with Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, Apple. Oh my, that was a play on Lions, Tigers, and Bears. Oh my. And JFDI, tell us what happened with your keys real quick, and then we'll.
Oh, dude, I went mountain biking up north, about 2.5 hour drive. Brother and I went to go grab a burger after we got done, and threw my house keys on the bumper for some reason, or at least I think I did. Got home. I had just some rings and keychains on the keychain that meant a lot to me, and I was like, fuck it. So I drove back up there last night. I didn't get home until about 2:33 this morning, so I'm pretty
Brutal.
spent. It was a rough night, but
Joey, I'm going to come to you here in just a second, but is this Caleb or not? Caleb, I don't know if you're listening, but we did see a 528,000 call buyer on FRMI. Joey, you said that was a shitco. Caleb loves it, and he bets on Rick Perry here. So that is something I did want to just call out quick.
I wish you luck
tomorrow. Anyways, let's rock and roll. We are live. Joey, JFDI, what's going on in the markets? Trump flips a coin. We're going to war. We're not going to war. We're going to war. We're not going to war. Markets are still listening. I said I saw this the first go around with him as president. His tweets mattered less and less over time. Like people kind of figured his bluffs or they didn't have as big of an impact. But Joey said there's green candles coming in. So today before we hop into Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and Apple. Oh my.
Yeah, it's been a wild, I guess, Monday. I thought we were going to be getting slaughtered today, but unless you're just all in on semiconductors and memory, you're doing pretty good. So
yeah, your Reddit's looking smoking.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Reddit. I mean,
let's pull up your charts, JFD. I'll add them when you get those.
Yeah, it was wild. So the leak that they were considering walking away from Google, and then you kind of analyze why they would do that. Don't love the idea of it, but I get it. If the organic traffic to your site would be much more valuable, especially with how they monetize users. But like the magnitude of the sell-off based on the $60 million contract. Now, granted, that could be worth hundreds of millions of dollars after the renegotiation, but I don't know. It was too significant for that rumor, that sell-off. But I don't know. This market is very skittish.
It felt like they were calling the bluff, and I thought about this in depth, actually, about Google holds the cards, though, kind of, right? Because couldn't they just minimize the amount of traffic that goes to Reddit ultimately and hurt them even much further than the 60 million? I agree is nothing, right? And they could easily double that. Or you'd think that Reddit founders would be smarter to then play around with them, but I mean, they had to throw. It's kind of like the art of the deal here. They're trying to convince them that they'll come off, but at the same time, I was thinking that Google could just take them off the top. They could twitch something in the algorithm to make Reddit come down a little bit further.
If they really want to get into games like that, but I don't think Google wants to do that.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, what is 100? It's crazy that we're saying this out loud, but what is 120 million or 200 million for them?
Yeah, and Google wants to surface the best search results for what you're searching for because they're that dominant search engine. So throttling one of the best sources of that data would be, it'd be detrimental to their own search.
Yeah. What's the bottoms keep looking to get higher here? No chart. So
again, like as a technical guy, I think it's generally all smoke and mirrors. So no matter what if you have a strong conviction in a name, like any type of bad news is typically like I guess that's probably where buy the dip comes from. It's typically backfilling or at least again, if you have that longer term conviction in whatever name it is that you're looking at. I love to theorize no matter what the name is, or even like the geopolitical crap. I love to think about it all, but price has to confirm my bias or my theory for me to really give it any credence.
Yeah, we got ourselves in trouble quite a bit theorizing on pounding the table. We're like, if this happens and this happens and then this happens, then we're good.
It's fun to do. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. I still see that today. Like, we're going to get approval for this, which means this, and, or this bottleneck leads to this bottleneck leads to this bottleneck. Everybody on X is a bottleneck expert now. It's just not simple.
Yeah.
And I would say keep it simple.
That is
that, and like it's really difficult to you're ultimately having to put yourself on the same time frame and timeline as whoever's in control of price, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like so long as you're in alignment with that, you're all right. But if we start to, the only reason we ever have to get frustrated with whatever's happening in the market is because it's going against our bias, or something is not happening in the time frame that we want it to happen. It's like, I can't control the market. None of us have the bags to push price around. So the best we can do is pretty much just align ourselves with the trend and ride it.
Or find very, very small caps that we can.
Yeah.
Let's get into the biggest news. I'd say kind of the market's waiting for here is Meta. We have Amazon, Microsoft, and Apple coming up. So you pick which one we whip up first. But Joey, what are you most excited about? I've been hearing a lot of Meta chatter from you just because it's been beaten down. But
yeah, I like Meta and Amazon the most out of those. Microsoft's there. It's very inexpensive. Just not as exciting total business as the other two. Yeah, I think the most important thing, just like last week with Google, was it's going to be the CapEx numbers on Meta, Microsoft, and Amazon. So Apple, they don't really play that game. So I don't think Apple's really all that important to the market anymore, because it's just one of those kind of steady eddies that everybody throws in their back pocket, almost like NVIDIA now, to where, yes, very important, but it doesn't have those massive moves that ends up moving the entire market anymore. But yeah, it's going to be those CapEx numbers. They're going to go up, but how will the stocks react to that number? So a lot of them moved on Google's number last week. So the market's expecting them to go up, but will they fall when they announce that? Or the other thing that's weird is, as CapEx numbers went up at Google, then you saw all the companies that would benefit from that increased CapEx just continue to tank. So this market, it just feels like a lot of things got way ahead of itself, and now everything's being sold off. We're seeing a bounce in a lot of these today, but the very interesting thing was, for a long time, memory stocks historically trade at very low single-digit multiples, and you saw those rapidly expanding. So you got people in the camp of, well, it still only trades at 4 or 5 times earnings. It could trade at 20 times, and the stock would go to here. And now you're seeing, yes, the multiples expanded quickly, but now they're contracting quickly. the market essentially needs to say what they're willing to pay for, something cyclical like memory now, especially as everybody's targeting that as the main thing driving their prices higher. Everybody's going to be working on their own memory, just like Amazon. Everybody makes their own chip. I feel like everybody's going to be making their own memory soon.
At a certain point, that's going to be looked at as a weakness. Like I would imagine, like at a certain point, you take some name and like they need NVIDIA's money or they need such and such money. They need money from somewhere. That's going to be looked at as like, they're struggling, like fuck this company kind of thing. I at least that's how I would kind of look at it. And then Joey, we were kind of talking just prior to you popping on, with growth land getting obliterated and starting to see kind of a little bit of weakness hit the chips and memory names. I guess one could argue that, and the mag names have already been in a range. Like you just look at any one of the mag, whether it's, Meta or Microsoft, whatever, they're in a massive range. There's not really much to those charts where once you start to see the SMH chips memory start to crack, it's almost like they're the last to fall. So perhaps the kind of pull-in or we're nearing the end of it rather than the beginning. But, again, looking at the Qs and the SMH, if they do decide to kind of push this lower, it does kind of appear as it's just getting started too. Like you could argue both points. And I would also argue that I think the Fed, I think that is a big kind of unknown, and I think that's a wild card that we don't really know. Like, are they really considering raising rates, or are they going to start slashing rates? I think we need to see a like a theme. Like, I want to know what they're doing. I'm not interested in involving myself in a market where they start raising rates.
Yeah,
or at least in the short term.
So since 1970, because I was looking this up, because I would figure in a midterm year, like these would do great, but the midterm, the S&P's average is 7.5% compared to 12.4% in non-midterm years. Two most recent midterm cycles were actually the worst on record, with 2022 down 18%, 2018 down 4.4%. So Meta specifically, they did really well in 2012 with the mobile ad transition. 2018 was an anomaly because they had Cambridge Analytica fallout. 2022 was brutal. Meta fell somewhere around 64% for the year. That was driven by Apple's privacy changes and TikTok starting to grab a lot of that attention. However, Meta's low for the entire 22 crash hit right around the November midterms, basically bottoming out. But from that bottom, the stock ripped 175% over the following 6 months. So kind of counter to your thinking, where the market usually is like 6 months ahead. In this case, they're probably getting the earnings reports on the following after the midterms. That was interesting. I just pulled that stat up. I'm not that smart to like know that stuff, but
again, just looking at the chart, I mean, it kind of just looking at it, I guess the reason I would be in the camp that this is going to be kind of short-lived if we do kind of capitulate here is we had a massive sell-off here. It was a lot less brutal here. Maybe it's a little less brutal here, and we kind of snap out of it. Like, I'm just in kind of V until, I guess, proven otherwise. I will be in camp V out of here.
Yeah,
I think it's going to look something kind of like this. Whether we, depending on how long it takes for us to do this is kind of what I think. It's kind of the roadmap that I'm following.
Yeah. So the MacBooks, I know I saw a headline that Apple's going to be raising their prices. You don't think that will, and they're making their MacBooks now more focused on AI. I mean, they're designing them around AI usage. Curious to see how that pans out. I agree with Joe. It's not like the sexy name anymore to pay attention to, but you zoom out. Yeah, it's been working. It's pretty consistent. I haven't owned Apple in years, though, so I guess it's kind of off my radar. But anything you want to touch on with Apple, or it's not even on your?
I mean, if you trade huge size, I think it's kind of to kind of Joey's point, I think it's a pretty I don't want to say easy and predictable name to trade, but again, if you trade huge size, it's pretty.
Yeah.
I don't want to call anything easy because nothing I would say is easy, but yeah, I don't really have anything to add on Apple.
You can go on vacation with Apple though.
The names like this are great for day trading. Like all the mag names are fantastic for day trading. You can trade whatever pattern is that you like that a technical guy wants to trade. Like if you just stick to the mag names, you can just hit those on repeat over and over and over again. Not saying everyone works out, like it's not like you can have 100% like hit rate, but like if you were going to put together a basket of stocks to day trade, the mag names are kind of, in my opinion, it.
Yeah. Any Joe, you got anything up your sleeve on a potential mini monster or anything that most people are not looking at that you're finding?
I mean, this isn't the market where I would be playing too many games.
Yeah.
So yeah, we discussed trying to find some sort of mini monster. Can get back on that. It's just not one of those markets where you want to do that. I mean, you saw
it's preserved mental capital.
Yeah. Everybody's selling off the trade, selling off all the fun ones, and essentially waiting for a bottom to start buying all these. Nick made a very good point where it's like the SMH and those components, the last to roll over. It used to be always the Mag 7 names were the last to roll. And that just completely flipped. Maybe like last year is when that started. You see Mag 7 sells off, then NVIDIA and the rest of the SMH, and then we bottom out. So maybe this is that flush on the SMH that we're looking at today. And then, of course, I mean, memory's kind of taking it more intensely than everything else. But I think in a massive uptrend is where we'd want to start playing with those mini monsters again.
Yeah, I agree. With SanDisk kind of leading, I could definitely see kind of a pull into the 200-day, or just however this, you've got this air pocket here, and it, again, just kind of like looking at it, it looks like it's closer to the end rather than like a massive like beginning. But I still believe that most names, the majority of names, are going to move in the direction of the indices. It's just some are going to move faster and further than others. So if they really decided
the SanDisk run was just so much greater than everything else that it got the most to give up. Like Micron, it's been crushed, but not nearly as bad. I think SanDisk has almost been cut in half. Micron's 30% off the high. SK Hynix, now it's just cracked below 140. But it's just a very short trading life, so you can't really make much of it.
I think
the other one, Seagate, STX. I think that's the only other really one that we could look at.
Yeah.
One other factor that from a Trump angle, Netanyahu's coming to New York on Wednesday. So
and
I don't
Mamdani's going to try to arrest him, right?
No, he said he can't.
A mayor can't arrest.
Believe it or not, he could not. He can't do free buses. He can't do a lot of things right now. But I don't think that they're going to bomb while he's traveling, right? And I think maybe he wants, that's something. I guess from like a massive "we're going to war" type of thing. I can't see them doing that now, especially. Trump's not like, sometimes he sounds very dumb, but like in general, he's not dumb enough to do something crazy during this earnings week. I don't think. I could be wrong, but my hope is that because if all of those go down, it could really tank the market.
I think he's definitely taken notice that the market's been taking a hit. Him and Scott Bessent talk about that regularly.
Yeah.
So I think that's where he's like, all right, I can't let this get too out of hand. Like, let it run back to all-time highs, then pull out the crazy card.
Well, I think, not to be, it sounds very morbid, but I think that logically makes sense that they wouldn't do it this week, let the market run up, and if they're going to make a move, do it when the market's peaking again. But that's just my Avo conspiracy angle, not financial advice.
The other huge thing to watch this week is we get GDP numbers Thursday after the FOMC on Tuesday and Wednesday is their meeting. So they've got to have those numbers in advance to where GDP is now 1.7. They used to expect 3. Oil prices are all over the place. Like there's no way in hell they could raise rates, but they also can't cut. They just got to say, look, we're going to keep sitting on our hands till something happens.
Yeah.
So I was just looking. We actually, my next guess is not till 1:30, so we don't need to hustle out of here as much as I thought. But I was looking at the trends here today. So airlines and travel and transportation is all thematically up right now. Is that just typical for summer right now, or you think if there's
somebody had pointed out last week that when the market starts to go to shit, people just love to travel and get out. I mean, look at Texas Roadhouse. People gotta get out and eat.
Is it ripping? I didn't even.
Yeah,
Texas Roadhouse is not on my not on my screen.
I find food stocks kind of interesting, a little difficult to trade, but I mean the chart looks great, and obviously we know how Chipotle, that monumental run, it's got a massive base. So
Jersey Mike's
like
week, right?
things to trade, there are. Trades are working in both directions right now, which is, again, wild. But I think, yeah.
That's a pretty wild chart. I mean, it's almost like, so this is coming down, peaks in November.
Also up the monthly.
Yeah, let me see. Wow. That is not one I've never ever looked at, to be honest with that. It's been ripping. What about how's Big Mike's? I was gonna say. No, I'm going too crazy. What did I say? Jersey Mike. Jeez.
Are they publicly traded?
I think they went public last week, right? Or is it this week?
Oh, I thought it was this week.
I could be wrong.
I don't know. It's such a shit brand that I have zero interest in it. It was great before PE took it.
Okay, so I think it is July 30th. Sorry, it's this
JMKE, right?
Yeah, this Wednesday. Wow, I'm getting some love.
All those brands are so great. Then private equity buys them. They go to crap. They bring them public. Who knows what'll happen?
What's his name? Had a hilarious. I'm blanking on the guy's name. The comedian I always listen to. He went on a whole tangent about private equity coming into food. It's like, all right, you gotta get absolutely shitty food, do the bare minimum. I didn't realize like Chili's and TGF Fridays, they're all like dying out right now.
Oh my God. Yeah.
Dude, Chili's is actually crushing. Look up EAT, the ticker. They've been very good.
He did say Chili's was the one that is fun. He's like, people go there, have fun. They're like, they know it's not food. Tim Dillon is the guy I'm thinking of. He's like, they know it's not food, but it's fun. He's like,
yeah, they've been absolutely crushing it. They own Chili's. What are their other brands? I always mix them and Bloomin' brands up to where I think Bloomin' owns Outback Steakhouse, right?
Which has also been getting crushed. They just closed one. We used to get dropped off there for the bus heading back.
Yeah, they have Chili's. It's Just Wings. I've never heard of that. And Maggiano's Italian Grill.
Maggiano's is solid.
Beijing and Grove Boulevard Burger and Brew, Fat Dragon.
Jody says everyone's having a good time at Chili's because everyone's hammered. They don't realize it is fake food. Now, I would say I haven't had Jersey Mike's in probably 5 years, and I had it last week, and I thought it was phenomenal. But I knew I was just eating straight poison. Like cold cuts are literally the worst thing you could possibly eat, I think.
On top of that, like, dude, anything that's fried, like any type of food that goes in a fryer, oh my God, like it runs right through me. It's brutal. Yeah. You know, like none of them.
Firehouse Subs is like, they're the go-to. That place is great.
They have one at Newark. The Taco Bell explosive diarrhea.
Yeah.
I thought they were cleared that it wasn't them.
Oh.
Well, it's just people that ate at Taco Bell, I think, also happened.
Well, the typical person that eats a Taco Bell probably eats a lot of other crappy places.
Oh, yeah. God, yeah.
So it just so happened that those people also ate a Taco. Because, yeah, the lettuce supplier that they said was supplying to those Taco Bells then said it was a false positive. So they no longer knew who did it and that it wasn't necessarily Taco Bell. I think that was correct. But then still, people think, oh, Taco Bell explosive diarrhea, and they saw a 19% decline in traffic. Which I will say, my kids had it like the week that the whole thing came out, and I was like, oh, you guys are done for.
I did too. And I think I had it. It was,
and they had like the lettuce on the crunchy tacos. It's like, yeah, you guys.
Well, it's funny. My wife's like, she's like, I want to eat healthy, but we can't eat salads now because you get.
Yeah, how did Sweet Green do during that? Let's see. I'm pretty sure they've. Oh yeah, damn. Down 27% past month. Do their wraps have lettuce in it? Because wasn't the whole catalyst for them wraps?
Yeah, which were good, but it was too expensive. It was like, I think like $16 or $17 for a little wrap. Very good. Remember, I did that was my first UGC trials of eating the wraps back-to-back days. Those were good. All right, what else we got cracking? The market seems to be boring for you guys right now. So
yeah, I cleared off a ton last week. I remember we were all texting. I was like, why play around in this market? So I sold off like my Marvell, all the other things, except then I got Marvell back this morning because I mean I was selling that at 200 and something. And then it came all the way back down. I think it's like 186 when I bought it back for the exact kind of thing that Nick was saying. You know, is SMH the last shoe to drop? And if so, I mean, this type of decline across these names would result in that ultimate like just hockey stick recovery.
Yeah.
So that I want exposure to it if it were to happen, but still much smaller position than I initially put on just in case, you know, it's not done yet.
No.
The other interesting one is VICR. Nick, you'll remember that from Oktoberfest 2025. Which so what's awesome is it's kind of like what GP always says, like the stocks always come back to that 200-day. And look at it. It's creeping up on that bad boy.
I Googled real quick O'Neill. So William O'Neill, who not to switch subjects, but William O'Neill, wrote How to Make Money in Stocks. For guys that are not trying to pick the bottom, this is kind of like what you're looking for. Let me see if I can drag that over real quick. You don't have to necessarily try and bottom tick these charts because you generally have plenty of opportunities. So like when you're waiting for kind of that capitulation low, you're just waiting for kind of a follow through bar. To your point, Joe, like you can catch it on the upside and wait until that momentum turns. And so like if you go back and kind of just pull apart the indices, almost every even V out has had like kind of a capitulation day. Those that have taken advantage of it were obviously not like in the perma bear camp. They had a general bias to the upside based on like larger time frames. So anyway, sorry, I just wanted to throw that in there real quick. That again, if we're talking about the SMH and it's the last to roll, maybe the Qs kind of that's what it's going to kind of look like in here if we do bottom here. So it kind of gives you a framework to look and say, okay, let's see if we get some like what is that capitulation going to look like? It's probably going to be a wide range bar or a couple like real long tails or wicks off of probably this range. I was kind of with how weak the market was this morning. I was like, well, shit. I honestly wouldn't even be surprised if we pulled back towards like 630 and undercut the 200-day. But again, it's a wild card week. So to your point, it's not really a market to be, unless you're playing it to the short side and you're really, you are bared up. Sure, you can press it because there is things are happening that are confirming price resolving to the downside. We don't have anything, at least here, that is pointing us to say, hey, let's try and bottom tick this right now. If price was already kind of drifting down here, sure, I can understand trying to bottom tick because you're like, oh, I got the 200-day here. I got a retest of this massive breakout. That makes sense. but we still got this air pocket. So just kind of wait it out a little bit. If you're already in tilt and then you're going into this wild card week, like, dude, you're not going to be making good decisions.
I would have thought with the Trump accounts that the market would be much higher, because they did a silent pump, right, where they gave all these kids $1,000, put it in the S&P 500.
Mm-hmm. You
would have thought that would have helped boost it a little bit. Do you think Burry's going to be right on Micron and Nvidia here? He just added more to his short here. So is he a one-hit wonder, or is he gonna?
Again, when price breaks, you typically see kind of like the bigger wide range bars almost in the downturn. The whole idea behind like stair stepping up, elevator down. So when people try to come out with these like forecasts and say, oh, it's going to take us like 6 months to get down to this price. Well, no. Like if you just look at how the market's been behaving, like Micron could sell off 200-300 points and by the end of the week. It's not out of the question.
That'd be great.
So I'm not saying I necessarily agree or disagree with Burry, but again, we've got this air pocket here, and along with SanDisk, on a bigger time frame, like you were some long-term guy, why would you really care if price kind of pulls in and drifts into the 200-day? This is your line that most long-term investors are kind of paying attention to. And even if price drifts below the 200-day, so long as they keep it close and contained, this is going to continue to kind of just drag up.
Micron's one of the craziest stock. I mean, we were running it 2 months ago, and it was just like every single day was going up, like that whole big run up.
Yeah.
We were trading that, and again, almost round trip my my trading account, which I don't know how you guys do it. I'm more in line with Joey's thinking, keeping it simple, stupid.
Well, have fun trading, and then just don't overstay your welcome, and shift that into like turn the trade into an investment, then just keep trading. So, I mean, we've seen this in neo clouds, you've seen this in memory, a lot of the names that you'll see, like retail just goes crazy, and you think, oh, I'm onto it. Like this time's different. Multiples are going to expand, and it's not gonna contract. Memory will trade at 20 times earnings now. It's like, that's just not how things always work. Yeah. The only time I've ever seen a stock that historically trades at a very low multiple expands and maintains is Apple. Like it was forever trading at like 8, 9, 10 times earnings. And then you saw that rapid multiple expansion. Now it consistently trades at that. I don't know any other story that kind of, sets that type of rule.
Yeah.
I was talking with Matt Timpane, actually he replied to me on StockTwits last week, and it was kind of the idea that these boom and busts, especially in the low float name, like the low float thinner names, it's speeding up because margin and leverage is being used heavily, especially amongst those that really have no business using it.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, like how fast information spreads on like the internet, social media. I mean, just like, again, you could point to like the space names. It's like Rocket Labs. Even if you think space is the next frontier, it can't just continue to run on fumes and run on this theory that we're going to be like building on the moon or Mars or whatever the fuck. Like at some point, like that actually has to happen. Otherwise, these things are just going to completely implode. But all these things just keep running ahead of themselves, like kind of Joey pointed out earlier. And it's funny, like I guess kind of even you could probably even point to Bitcoin. It's like when you have this hardcore belief that something cannot happen,
it happens.
It happens. Like, I don't think there's anything, like even just looking at Bitcoin, I don't even think there's anything wrong with it. It's just, it ran and now it's pulling in and it's consolidating and, biding its time.
Yeah. Bitcoin. Yeah. I would not say you're wrong there. I would say with the whales are starting to buy more, and they're kind of like the guys that hold are holding now. It's like climb up here. But
if you remember when price like cleared 100K or like 75K, like somebody might put out a chart and be like, hey, we might pull back to 60, 70K, whatever. And like the amount of like just hate and attack that you get for even posing the possibility of something like that happens.
Yeah.
And then sure enough, like it pulled in. Like it's just
one thing I was thinking about the other day was with you know, I initially got excited about 24-hour trading, and then I was just thinking more about it. First of all, it's nice to have the weekends to be like, all right, I can just step away now and I'm calm. But with 24-hour trading, I think that's going to kill retail more than anyone, because like we don't have the algorithms at 4 a.m. when we're sleeping, and if a bomb drops, they do. And so I'm curious your thoughts on 24-hour trading.
It's synonymous or like a parallel to the K-shaped economy that I think people talk about. I think that there will be periods of time where the intermediate swing, like Momo trading, will be great, probably like it always has been. But I think that the guys that are super short term, that is like day trading, or the much longer term investor, are those that are going to truly thrive on more of a probably consistent basis. Because again, if I don't know, Iran drops a bomb tomorrow and the S&P takes a 10-20% hit, like if you're a long-term investor and you're perpetually dollar cost averaging, you want price to pull in, you want it to ebb and flow so that like, you know, you keep your cost basis down. So and on top of that, if you are in those long-term boats, like you're looking 5, 10, 20 years out, you're not looking at tomorrow. So if you weren't looking, if you're not that short-sighted, why would anything that really happens today or tomorrow really, I guess now I'm kind of going theorizing. But.
Well, or in this 24/7 world, you just have to have your AI agent set up on Robinhood.
Yeah.
And they're the ones, hey, I trade from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then your time to run my account is this time to this time.
That's a great idea.
Give it very specific things. You know, if there's a major geopolitical catastrophe, like give it all the guidelines, because it has to follow them. Until we see the rogue AI agent that loses millions of dollars on an account or something like that, but haven't seen anything like that yet. But I feel like that's where all of this is going, is like the humans run the account from this time to this time, then the AI agent runs it overnight.
I tell you,
fun and games from Trump API, and they beat you.
Yeah.
The volatility at the open, as of late, I mean, I started trading in 06, 07. I haven't seen like the opens this volatile since I don't remember a time other than, you know, pre like full on electronic trading. Because we still, you know,
you make a good point. It was always normal if we open red by like 10 a.m. we were deep red, but it's been very rare that once we open positive we get like that, because that happened to my account this morning. Like I open up and then it was just straight up. And then we started coming back down, but it was crazy, that spike.
Yeah, I don't know what to necessarily point to, other than if the more that, I mean, the funds and DES have always had, you know, more or less black boxes and automated trading systems, but as they are becoming more popular and mainstream, I suppose maybe is the right word, like you have to be looking at charts and price in almost a different way, because if you're used to putting, let's say, trail stopping or putting stops in as protective measures in a traditional sense, where like, let's say under certain pivots or, you know, wherever that may be, we're talking about the bullshit that happens in the Forex markets, where they like, you know, overnight thin trading, they can push price wherever the fuck they want, run your stops and then reverse price. And like, who are you going to go cry to? Like, you don't have anybody to, like. So anyway, back to like the 24/7, I was like, I that's kind of the, I don't know. I've known several guys that trade Forex over the years, and just the stories I've heard, whether they're true or not, just always sound insane and dirty. So,
Joey, what are your thoughts on it? Can you pull up Celsius? I haven't talked about that for a while. Because I was like, oh, man, all these day traders are just going to be chugging Celsius and having to stay up late at night. They're down 40% on the year, I saw. But do you think that, because I'm seeing them more and more. So like if you're just like
Yeah, at the gym every day, it's either Celsius or Alani in people's hands, which they own Alani. What's crazy is, I mean, we first started following the stock split adjusted $1.50 or so,
like 30 cents or something stupid.
Yeah, and I think dating back to when I first started following it was under $1. You got this trading at 16.5 times next 12 months earnings, 2.6 times revenue. Like it's cheaper than it's ever been in its history. A $6.9 billion market cap.
Wow.
I mean, what
Do they
this
have
year
hot
they
chips like Monster do? Like Monster does in Red Bull?
What's that?
Does Celsius have like hot chicks, running around?
Yeah,
Celsius,
so
like
they
Monster and Red Bull.
They've got all so what they do is they do like brand partnerships on TikTok, Instagram, and all that stuff. And they have to, it's the same young people sharing. They used to have where people had like the little desks at gyms and stuff that like it goes way back to, they would go to like track events and they would have their kids hand out cans because people wouldn't turn away a kid handing them a sample. Celsius, yeah, they had to do that.
Damn.
Yeah, so no one would take the cans from the adults; they would have their kids hand it to people. And my friend that worked there way back, he's now retired because he made so much money working there eventually. But yeah, this went from like piss water that no one wanted to the hottest fitness trend. But then it's just faded off since. The problem is it's trading at its cheapest valuation, I think, of all time now. Because of how the stock's been trounced. Pepsi still owns a good chunk of this. I mean, it only makes sense for Pepsi to come in and just buy the rest. But the problem is Pepsi offloaded Rockstar, which was one of the worst deals they ever made in their history. It's very small, though, in comparison. But they offloaded Rockstar into Celsius's portfolio. So then it'd be weird that they acquire Celsius and have that. I thought they'd hand it off to Celsius, make Celsius kill it off, then end up acquiring. But I don't know. This one makes too much sense for them to acquire. But if not, the problem is like you need some sort of catalyst to get this thing going. Like every earnings report, still explosive growth, just the market doesn't care.
Yeah.
So once the market starts caring and this starts getting some sort of retail attention, then we could jump on board. But you can't buy something because anytime I buy something like this should be trading at this, and like the market doesn't understand it, like, but it's been clearly shown in the earnings reports for the last 2 years and the stock market just doesn't care. That's when it's like, okay, maybe I just revisit this. And I mean, when I first started following this company in 2008, 2009, they were like an OTC listed company, ended up getting delisted in 2016, came back to the public markets, and still for years I watched it and it did nothing. And so it might have been on a watch list for 4 or 5 years before it was May 2020, maybe May 2021. They had this quarter where it showed 71% growth and the stock popped from $4 to $5.80 pre-market. And then it was finally the time. So it just took
on the podcast a few times.
Yeah, it took years, but then it finally took off. So like you could be in another situation where this thing trades sideways for years and then finally does something.
Yeah.
Why is Monster behaving in a way that Celsius isn't? Like, why? Do you have any?
I don't
idea?
know. They're growing half as fast, and I think their margins are I just don't know. Maybe just having Coke as your distribution partner makes Monster better. But yeah, if you compare the growth at each company, it's wild that Celsius isn't trading at twice the level it's at.
I see a lot of people drinking. I mean, it's obviously this is just my eyeballs, but I don't see anyone drinking Monster. Maybe it's in different areas of the world, but
see, I also have to factor that in. Like I'm around very healthy, active people most of the time, so they're drinking Celsius Alani. But maybe if I hung out places where some slobs were, maybe I'd see more. Yeah. But like even then, I've seen fit people drinking Monster, so it's not like it's an unhealthy brand.
Yeah, interesting.
So I had I don't know if this is true or not. I had a buddy of mine tell me that the reason that like Monster, for instance, it's so acidic that if you have it kind of sitting in your system and then go try to eat, like you won't absorb like any of what you eat. It'll just break down that food faster than like what your stomach normally would, and it just kind of runs. Yeah, again, I don't know if he was just trying to scare me. Like when I was in my 20s, I'm pretty confident that I had a minor heart attack. Like I was drinking like 4 Monsters a day when I was like in real like grind working mode from sunrise to 2 in the morning. I was a very unhealthy individual.
Well, I think what you're saying could be true because I saw this news article the other day. This doctor prescribed Diet Coke to a woman who had this
What? Oh, okay.
like lump in her stomach, and it over time it just so you could be onto something here. Everything that we thought that Diet Coke was bad for you, monster, it's actually curing cancer now and and freezing my computer. I did buy a new computer. I don't know if you guys can still hear me.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm frozen.
Yeah, you are frozen though. Joey, you into any like pre-workout crap or like what's your kind of stack as far as like do you drink energy drinks or?
Yeah, I'll have to send you. I really like Transparent Labs.
Okay.
They make like a bulk pre-workout, and it's mainly because, I mean, this is gonna sound like a freaking ad read for the company, but it's basically like only the stuff you actually need in your pre-workout with all the like the garbage fillers added to it.
Sure.
To some of the fitness influencers I follow were high on it, so I was like, all right, let's give it a try. Very clean label. Beta alanine I'll add to it just because I like like the face melting feeling with the pins and needles. So like I'll add a little bit into there, but yeah.
I like to not have feeling in my fingers. That's when you know it's really hitting,
Yeah.
I mean, I drank pre-workouts when I was in my teens, early 20s, like just the most absurd names. And it's like, why would I put Hemo Rage was one of them that was spelled like hemorrhage. And I was thinking like, oh, this is awesome. It was one of the best pre-workouts.
Your brain will literally bleed out here.
Yeah.
Dude, I had it once.
Original White Flood, that thing, dude. It was like $20 for 60 servings. You could take that and run a marathon without prepping. Like I
took it once, and not that one, but I took one pre-workout. Thought I was having a stroke. Like basically pissed myself at the gym. And I would go, I think I'm good just drinking water here from now on. But I was thinking, Joey, you're not Jody, you're Joey. The Daily Stack, we should just pivot to peptide podcast, right? You're like, isn't that what they call it? The Daily Stack?
Pretty awesome. We just run our labs. We start something, then we run our labs again.
Yeah. No, it was good. All right. Any last words since we started the podcast? Any changes in the market that you're seeing?
No, I would just, again, kind of back to Joey's point, like protect your mental capital. It is going to be a wild week. And even if you are maybe trying to take stabs at catching that knife, just take smaller size perhaps, but your money, your problems.
I love it. Joey, any last words here?
The market just seems more skittish. I mean, we started this 2 or 3 weeks ago and the market was still kind of raging higher, and it's been pulling back pretty hard. This week will be very telling as to, do we bottom out? Was last week the bottom? At least in the near term. It's just there's too much that's going to happen this week for us to not change the trend. Like either the downtrend's confirmed and just, it's like elevator down again because people get so spooked, or things are much better than we expected. So yeah, keep an eye on all the headlines. We got FOMC Wednesday, shitload of earnings Wednesday and Thursday after the close, GDP and PCE, I want to say on Thursday morning. So it's like, of course, I'll be on a plane Thursday morning heading to Jackson Hole. So
yeah, I'll be in Denver Friday over the weekend. So I won't be around Monday. I think I told you.
Be traveling during all this chaos, and Reddit earnings Thursday after the close, which I have a very large stake in. So it's not like being not at home changes anything, but it's like having the whole setup as opposed to trading on your phone and laptop just feels completely different.
So the Reddit news they came out with, just to wrap this up, that was on Google earnings, which I thought was strategic. You know, like it wasn't just a random.
It got leaked. They didn't intentionally release that.
Okay, so it got leaked. What I will say, maybe they had additional confidence before they did that. So maybe their earnings will be very strong if they felt like they're in a position to.
Well, Jonah had posted. So, of course, Jonah has a hedge fund, so he pays for a lot of very expensive research. And he had tweeted out like what Reddit is trending towards as to what the data that these firms have suggest. And yeah, it's a massive beat, which likely goes to raise. See, it kind of goes back to the thing like, did they leak it ahead of earnings? One, because you don't want to have a beat and raise quarter and then put that in your press release and have it be a shock, because then no matter what you do that's good, they're going to focus on this one thing. So there's a quarter they had, I want to say it was last year, incredible quarter, beat and raise, but they said something about a Google algorithm change negatively impacting their growth. And it had popped after hours and immediately just sold off everything on that one line. So I think they learned from that. So they wanted to get it out because they might have another beat and raise and then say, yes, ongoing discussions with Google, however, internally maybe it comes up on the conference call. They'd be dumb to put in a press release. But yeah, I think they wanted to have those weak hands shake out ahead of time, so then they're not shocked going into this quarter and have it overshadow.
Amazing. Well, boys, enjoy your travel. Thanks for popping on.
Cause we pop 'em like over red and vodka. C3, okay, a millionaire.